What's up people, it's Wasabi and I'm back with another review. And today we have the Pulsar X2 V3 ES Mini, and this was sent to me by Pulsar to share with you guys. But as always with the content on the channel, these are my thoughts, personal opinions and experiences with the product. Now before we get on with the review, here's a quick look at the packaging because that's what you pay for too. So here's what you get: a Pulsar X2 V3 ES Mini mouse. You get the 8K polling rate receiver, which is a standard accessory across all mice in the ES series. A USB-C charging cable, very nice and bendy. A Pulsar collector's card, this is something they include in the packaging of all their mice if I'm not mistaken. You also got a quick start guide, and that's pretty much all that's included inside the box. Now before we go any further, let's manage some expectations here real quick. Well, I can't exactly say that this is a completely new mouse because it shares the same shape as the X2 V2 and the X2 V3 Mini. However, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that the X2 Mini is receiving the ES line treatment, which is great to see because I'm a big fan of Pulsar's ES line for its driverless tech and aesthetic. Now this X2 V3 ES Mini is priced at $130, and just so you know, all ES models are priced the same. This mouse stays true to the Pulsar X2 identity, incorporating the design elements from Pulsar's esports line. What sets it apart is the thick aerospace aluminum scroll wheel and a striking red strip on the tail, and an informative OLED display on the bottom. It also includes dedicated buttons for pulling rate and DPI adjustments, along with a power switch. All other controls are managed through button combinations. While the standard X2 model has a minimalist design, the ES version of the X2 Mini introduces unique touches that make it feel refined and premium, just as it should. The X2 V3 ES features an updated internal structure just like the standard X2 V3. In terms of exterior build, I don't notice much of a difference compared to the previous X2 versions. They've always felt pretty solid to me. However, the structural updates should help reduce the risk of switch grinding and improve overall consistency in production, which is important given Pulsar's history of QC issues. As for the unit that I have, the build quality feels excellent. The main buttons have minimal wobble, the scroll wheel is very securely fitted in, and the side buttons are firmly in place. There is also no flex or creaking on the top, sides, or bottom of the mouse. The stated weight on the website of this mouse is 59 plus minus 1 gram, and on my unit with the stock skates, it weighs in at 61 grams. And before I go into more detail with the shape and how it feels from my experience, to put things into perspective, my hand size is 17.5 by 9. This is the smallest size of the X2 model, designed with a low hump and a wide waist. With this shape and size combination, it's not a mouse that offers a lot of support. Instead, it prioritizes versatility, making it easier to accommodate a variety of users. The mouse features subtle button grooves with ample finger spacing. Its front end sits relatively low by design, which enhances comfort for various claw grip styles. Mice with a low front like this allow for a more natural and comfortable position when you're doing the claw grip, even when your fingers are positioned further back on the buttons, preventing an overly steep angle of your wrists. The sides are fairly flat with no outward flare in the front corners, which makes this quite an easy mouse to pick up. And both the side buttons are easily reachable, partly due to the limited thumb space in this design. The hump sits low and is positioned slightly towards the back. With my hand size, I primarily use a claw grip on this mouse, and the hump only provides support up to the lower half of my palm, making the overall hump support feel quite minimal. Overall, the X2 shape is quite comfortable, not necessarily the most optimal, but one that many people find easy to use, and this likely explains why Pulsar has released what feels like 100 collaboration versions of the X2 without changing its core shape since the original model. For gamers with medium to large hands who prefer a relaxed claw or palm grip, this particular size may not be the best fit. However, for fingertip grip style users, as long as weight isn't an issue, the size and shape makes it perfect for larger hands. The coating is good, it's very grippy, but there is one drawback. Pulsar's coating on the ES line, I know this gets smudgy much faster than other black mice I've used lately, which can look rather gross by the end of the day. If that's something that bothers you, you might want to wait for this mouse to release in another color. Personally, I make it a habit to wipe my mouse with a damp cloth at the end of the day, so it always feels fresh in the morning. The stock skates provide a decently smooth glide with rounded edges on all sides. I've been using this mouse on the HSR SE Rouge 2 and the Artisan Key 83 mousepads. The Artisan Key 83 tends to amplify noise if the skates aren't smooth, and when I first got the mouse and used it on my Key 83, there was a noticeable amount of noise, but it did smoothen out over time. For Pulsar's current skates, when broken in, you get a balanced feeling glide, not too fast, not too slow, and should be suitable for most users, and I don't see the need to replace them anytime soon. But that said, if you have a strong preference for fast or more controlled glides, you can always swap them out for aftermarket skates, as these do not lean towards speed or control. Now this part is to help people visualize the of different grip styles on the X2 V3 ES Mini with reference to my hand size. For my hand size of 17.5 by 9, I can comfortably use all three variations of the claw grip, the relaxed claw, the regular claw, and the aggressive claw. I primarily use the relaxed claw as it's my go-to grip style, and this shape allows me to do so comfortably. However, for larger hands, you may find your fingers extending off the mouse when using a relaxed claw grip style, as this model is on the smaller side. This is not the shape or size I would use with a palm grip style, mainly due to how low the hump and the front design of the mouse is. For the fingertip grip style though, this mouse works well. The flat sides provide enough room to hold along most of the mouse's length, while the low hump makes it more accommodating for this grip style. For users with medium to large hands, the fingertip grip is probably the best option with this mini size. The switches, to my surprise, these RAESHA optical switches in this mouse feel really nice to use. In fact, the clicks are tighter and more satisfying with better feedback compared to the latest X-Lite V4 ES I purchased not too long ago. They are quite loud though, but they don't feel loose or mushy. Instead, they're crisp with a decent amount of tactility for an optical switch. While I wouldn't say it's more satisfying than mechanical switches, for an optical switch in this build, it's pretty solid. There is a bit of pre-travel and post-travel after the click, and you can also adjust the debounce time. I keep mine at 0 milliseconds and I haven't experienced any slam clicking issues, which is very nice to see. And on my crispy meter, with the way it sounds and feels, I will put them right about here. The side buttons feel decent. Both the front and back buttons have little to no pre-travel, but there's a fair amount of post-travel after the click. They are very light to press, and oddly enough, they don't seem to match the dense and solid feel of the rest of the mouse. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something worth noting. The buttons are on the smaller side, but they work fine for my hand size. However, if you have larger hands or a thicker thumb, you may need to be more careful when placing your thumb on the side, especially due to how light the side buttons are. The scroll wheel made from aerospace grade aluminum alloy looks fantastic. It's a bit shinier than the one on my X-Lite V4 ES, which is a bit odd, but it still looks great. What I really like about this scroll wheel compared to the standard rubber scroll wheels you find on other mice is that the surface doesn't wear down over time with heavy use. Rubber scroll wheels are commonly used for most mice and can sometimes become sticky depending on the climate, but that will never be an issue with a wheel like this. The thick grooves on the wheel provide excellent grip, and I never feel like I'm lacking control when using it, and this model also features Pulsar's blue encoder. With the aluminum wheel, it creates a smooth, almost luxurious feel, while still maintaining distinct tactile steps for precise scrolling. As for the scroll clicks on this unit that I have, they are uncomfortably stiff when I first unboxed it, and after a couple of days of use, the clicks did become a little easier to press, but you still need a firm press to register the click. So while gaming on multiple occasions, I did find myself accidentally scrolling while trying to click down. Now this mouse is equipped with Pulsar's XS1 flagship sensor, a tuned Pixar POR 3950, which goes all the way up to 32,000 dpi. You get the option of 3 liftoff distance settings, 0.7, 1, and 2 millimeters. And for this mouse, DPI adjustments can be fine-tuned in 10 dpi increments in the custom DPI mode. If you look at the online user manual, it will say increments of 50, which is not correct. And I think that is an oversight by Pulsar, so don't get confused. For me, I stick to 1600 dpi as my go-to setting on all mice, but the fine adjustment feature is useful for gamers who want more precise control over their DPI. I can't say I noticed a significant difference in performance between the XS1 and the standard POR 3950 sensors though. That said, I have no complaints. The sensor delivers stable, consistent performance as you'd expect from a high-performance gaming mouse today. Now this mouse is driverless, which means no software. And what's fantastic about Pulsar's driverless mice is first, it has an awesome informative OLED display that shows all the important settings and the battery life. And you can set a custom DPI on the mouse, which I will show you how it's done as I go through the controls right now. Here you got the DPI button, and that lets you access preset DPI settings, and that lets you select 400 DPI all the way up to 32,000. Then you got the custom DPI mode, which lets you use 400 all the way up to 6,400 DPI. All you got to do is press and hold the DPI button for 3 seconds. Then you use the scroll wheel to increase or decrease the DPI DPI with increments of 10. You also have a dedicated pulling rate button, and that lets you use 125Hz all the way up to 8000Hz. To turn motion sync on or off, you gotta hold down the pulling rate button and press the left mouse click. To change the lift off distance, press and hold down the pulling rate button and press the right mouse click. And to change the debounce time, press and hold down the pulling rate button and press on the DPI button. 500 mAh battery for 70 to 100 hours of usage. Now, I'm not exactly sure what mouse settings get you 70 hours of battery life, but I am fairly certain that 1000Hz will get you 100 hours. And that is pretty good, especially today's standards for high-performance gaming mice. This mouse supports wireless connectivity, of course, with polling rates ranging from 125Hz all the way up to 8000Hz. It comes with an 8K receiver, unlike the standard version. And you also got the option to use this mouse wired at 8000Hz if you prefer that kind of setup. In terms of stability, the mouse has been working perfectly well, and even at high polling rates, I haven't encountered any stuttering during gameplay, regardless of whatever setting I use. Did I encounter any stuttering? No, this one's good. My experience using this mouse does not disappoint in terms of quality, performance, and features. One of my favorite aspects of using this mouse is the OLED display. It's a simple but functional feature that adds a premium touch, and it's brilliant for quickly checking your settings and battery life without needing to use a software. The ability to adjust the polling rate with a push of a button is incredibly convenient for me. While most games I play work fine with high polling rates, other programs on my computer tend to slow down, so I need to reset the mouse back to 1000Hz. Now, there's only one thing that really makes me not want to use this mouse for gaming, and it's the scroll wheel. It feels way too hard to click for a gaming mouse, but if you don't use the scroll click very often, then I think it's nothing to worry about. Other than that, there is just something intriguing about a mini mouse packed with so much tech features and of course performance. And though the tech and shape is really nothing new to me, it is still one of the more interesting techie mice that you can find today. Now, Pulsar launched the X2 V3 ES Mini alongside the X2A V3 ES Mini. So if you're left-handed, the X2A offers side buttons on both sides. And for right-handed users, unless you want buttons on both sides of the mouse, the X2 V3 ES Mini would be the ideal option, being 5 grams lighter. When deciding which X2 Mini to go for, the standard X2 V3 Mini is $30 cheaper than this ES version, but does not have the aluminum scroll wheel, the OLED display, or the 8K receiver. And if you want the absolute lightest weight, the X2 Crazy Light weighs only 35-37 grams depending on the skates that you have, and it's $10 cheaper than the ES version. And it also comes with the 8K receiver. It also has Pulsar's optical switches, which at this moment is one of the 2 models that has them. And to me, it does feel much nicer than the RAESHA optical switches they use in all other mice. But if weight isn't a critical factor and you prefer a denser build with driverless tech, the X2 V3 ES Mini is a solid choice. And now, final thoughts and what do I think of its value? To me, this is a good modern day gaming mouse. It's essentially the same as the regular X2 Mini, but fully loaded with great features Pulsar has to offer. However, if you're not into the tech, this may not be very exciting for you. But if you are, the X2 V3 ES Mini or any mouse from Pulsar's ES line is really cool. The OLED display adds convenience to driverless mouse operation, and Pulsar's ES line currently has the best features and driverless system interface at this point in time. And the ability to fine-tune DPI is something that was missing from driverless mice, so this is a major bonus. For my preference, I would have liked a lighter scroll click, a slight reduction in weight because this is a small mouse and the 61 gram weight makes it feel very dense. Also, it would have been nice with more satisfying tactile mechanical switches and the option for software compatibility to remap buttons for those who want it. And while I don't remap my buttons, this could be a feature for driverless mice to open the mouse up to more gamers. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, please leave a like and subscribe to support the channel, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. To put things into perspective, my hands are...